Make the ground shake.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Game Hub. I'm your host, GamerK, and as you can kind of see, I'm doing minimal decorations this year for Christmas because, hey, it's better than what I did last year. I am your host, GamerK, and welcome to the first holiday episode of the video, or of the month. So yeah, every December, I always put on a hat. I finally done some decorations. You can't really see the red lights that much, but that's okay. And that's obvious. I mean, to be fair, at least this year I've got one video that's Christmas related, somewhat. So let's get started with the first video of the month, and that is a game review of, honestly, Transformers games have had a rough cycle in a good number of years ever since I played the games. Beast Wars game was just a battle beat 'em up or an adventure game, depending on which one you bought. And the Transformers movies games, yeah, it's better just to not talk about those altogether if you want to stay on the nice list. And also the old G1 one that was done in Japan. Never got to play it because it was in Japan, but it looked pretty good. That is until 2010, when War for Cybertron was first released. And dear Lord, if this is not the best Transformers game out there, then you can put me in the hole and starve me for a week. Because this game is by far the quintessential of what all Transformers games, and hopefully any future ones, should aspire to be. So let's dive right in and roll out. So, let's take a look at the game first. So, Transformers War for Cybertron. Okay, I may have had a stroke. It says this is done by Activision, which, honestly, given their rap sheet, I wasn't expecting it to come from them. So, the game takes place... The game is kind of a prequel to the original G1 series with a bit of a twist. I mean, all the characters look super futuristic, super cybernetic and polished of what they would be in on Cybertron. Way before in G1 when they were guns and oddly perfect vehicles. So the game starts, the one thing I love about this game is that in a lot of games, you only play as the hero. You always play as the hero. And yeah, that's great, but what about for people who love the bad guys, huh? Well, kind of following in what Transformers Revenge of the Fallen did, of having you do the story of both. Oh no, wait, the second one did that too. The first game did that too. And yeah, I'm not going to talk about those because those were really bad. So bad, in fact, not even Rat Trap would do anything with it. And speaking of which, he's right up there. So yeah, he's got the gun on me, making sure I don't say anything bad about. Let's continue. So the first bit of the game, we play as the Decepticons, which I like that. We get to see, and both of the stories obviously cling together in a way. The Decepticons start off with Megatron obtaining the Dark Energon in order to corrupt Cybertron's core. And then we begin a quest of basically destroying the Autobots and corrupting the core of Cybertron. The Autobot story is basically finding a way to fix it, and then that's pretty much their story, trying to fix the problem and try to come up with a plan. And we get to see Optimus not be Optimus Prime, not until the end of episode 2. Well, episode 2 of the Autobots. There's about 5 chapters in each one, one aerial level in each one, and 4 main ones. Now, the game is really, really fun. The main story takes about 9 hours to complete if you don't die constantly. Also, for completionists, and that includes the multiplayer, the game takes about 17 hours for completionists. Now, the game is, of course, an first-person shooter, which, honestly, it's done very well. We get to see the robot we pick in kind of third person a little bit from the back, not so much the front. And the weapon system they do is beautifully done. It's done just like an authentic first-person shooter, where you have to collect ammo and you have to reload after a time. There's no burnout period, which I kind of like. And the weapons come in so many different variations, from a shotgun to a submachine gun to a minigun, frag launchers, sniper rifles, energon guns, the whole caboodle. And all the weapons are done very, very well. Not only that, but each character you can play as has their own unique special abilities, such as dodging, projecting a shield, releasing a sentry drone. In vehicle mode, you get to ram, you get to do a whole bunch of fun stuff with the special abilities. The special abilities aren't really... Oh, and you can cloak, too, which is something I really love to do. There's nothing like cloaking and just getting up in front of a bad guy's face and just wailing on him. Also, there are the simple melee weapon, the melee attack, which is... I guess it's okay if you're doing some trophies or if you're going through the game and just having fun with it. What else? There are a couple things in the game that kind of hinder it. For example, at the beginning of each chapter, you are given a choice between 3 preset characters to play through the story. Like for the Decepticons, we've got Brawl, we've got Sideswipe, Breakdown, Soundwave, Megatron, obviously, and for some reason in the second chapter we get to choose between Starscream or his 2 sidekicks, Thundercracker and Skywarp. So, honestly, who are you really going to pick? The Lagoon, the repaints, or the original? Yeah, that's what I thought. It doesn't really matter who you pick, except for chapter 4 for the Decepticons, where you have to do a trophy where you have to get through a point within a certain amount of time, and Soundwave's speed boost ability will immediately work. Will immediately get you that if you do well with it. Again, they actually transform in this. That's one thing I love. And even in vehicle mode, you do get a certain set of weapons, like some machine guns and some rocket launchers. So, even in vehicle mode, you can still fight. That is something I really love about this game. They didn't do it like the others, where in vehicle mode, you just have to travel and get from place to place. No, you can actually fight if you're running low on ammo, just to even the odds. It gives you a little bit more of gameplay, which I really do appreciate that they took that extra time and detail. Because these are Cybertronian vehicles. So, why wouldn't they have guns on them? What else can I talk about this game? One thing I really like is how in every chapter, there's a little side trophy that you need to be on the lookout for. Like in chapter 8 of the Autobots story, which is technically chapter 3, but I'm going in number order. You have to save the slug from getting killed, which is basic. There's a brute charging at him. If you look in the distance, there's a stalactite. You just shoot it, and it will crush the guy, saving the slug. Or in the first chapter of the game, in the first level of the game, when you're in the area with all the Autobots being handcuffed, you kill all but one, and you get an achievement. The achievements are smartly placed within each level, and I really, really appreciate that. I really like when it's a chapter game, when they put hidden trophies in every single chapter. It's something fun, a little fun to look for. And looking for the laser beaks in the K-On! Prison level is a pain in the ass to do. I'm telling you that right now. So you might want to watch a guide. Sadly, in this game, there aren't really that many movie jokes from the movies. Or, I mean, there may be, I may not. But it's just a good, fun game. Let's see what else. There are boss battles, surprisingly, in this game. I say boss battles, but it's more like just shooting. I mean, okay, yeah, that's technically what a boss battle is, but you guys know what I mean. But it's nothing. Okay, I take that back. Only the Decepticons have one really awesome boss fight. Okay, yeah, they have 2 boss fights, but 3. Why am I tripping over myself? I think the holiday spirit's starting to get to me a little bit earlier, and I haven't had any eggnog. The boss fights are done very well, especially Zeta Prime, Omega Supreme. It is a pain in the butt to do, but they're in a bigger scale than the Autobots have, except for the final boss with Trypticon. And oh boy, any Transformers fans who love Trypticon, he is a great boss fight to do. So going back to the selection thing, that's one of the few things that's a big gripe for me. Like, yeah, you get to play as different characters, but although I guess there is replayability, like if you chart down who you played in that chapter, you can always redo it later as another character and see how you fare. Like, I know players that do that and time themselves when they're going through the level. So I guess that's something to do. So kudos to that. One thing I really got to give credit for in the game are the graphics. Even being a 2010 game, the graphics are still amazing. You feel like you're on Cybertron. Like, you don't feel like you're in the same location, just repainted or refurbished. It is beautifully done. The environments, the artwork, the characters look amazing. So, yeah, I really, really appreciate the effort put into this game. And it just works. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. This game is by far the best, one of the best Transformers games to be ever sold. And and once I get to the second game, I'll get to that next year. It's just a shame that the third game took reference from the last night, and it ruined it. I think that's what ruined it for everyone. Now I've gotten into the main game, time to get into the part that I did a lot of before PlayStation Plus was a thing, when multiplayer was free online. The multiplayer is basically choosing your character, customizing it however you wish with abilities, weapons, and paint job, just to give it your own little flair. I played a little bit of it. I played it more on in the second game because there was a little bit more customization, a little bit, but there's not that much. It's basically playing as characters from the game and from the a couple extra DLC characters, and it's okay. I mean, it's got more stuff to do than Overwatch. So we got deathmatch via free for all or team. We've got Code of Power, where you gotta transmit a bomb onto the opponent's area and succeed, and capture the flag, which is self-explanatory. So there's basically 4 modes in that, or if I'm forgetting some, I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, War for Cybertron is definitely a game for any Transformers fans. Even if you don't like the online stuff, you can still play the story and just have a good time being some of your favorite Transformers. I mean, if some of them are even on there, because now I think about it, the number of characters that they choose is it's very minimum. Very, very, very minimum. So that's something to gripe about. So, given that the fact that the game is 10 years old, literally 10 years old, the graphics are still amazing, the gameplay still works, the story is still fun, and for any Transformers fan, this is a must-have. And all honesty, I don't think we're going to get a Transformers game of this quality anytime soon, but if we do, I'll look into it. So, I was originally going to give this game an 8, but after looking back, like originally when I played it when I was 16, I quite literally loved it. It would have been an 8 for me, minus the multiplayer stuff. But when I finally get down to it, depending on how there's no real change in the, like, you can't really, because of having to choose a character, which doesn't really make a difference. I mean, it could, depending on how you play. And also the length of 5 chapters each, I'm okay with that. But when you get right down to it, because of the character thing, and at points it does seem a little repetitive. And not only that, but they send hordes and hordes of enemies at you at certain points. It just gets a little tiring once in a while. So I'm knocking off a couple points because of the character selection, and there's not that big of a selection. It's a 7 out of 10. War for Cybertron is definitely a 7 out of 10. And all honesty, going into next year, knowing that I'm going to be doing the sequel, I'm really going to have to go back into the sequel and see if things transformed over time. And that's it for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining in for the first week of December and the first of my holiday videos. Like, comment, subscribe down below. And once again, any Transformers fan, you can easily find this game online. You can easily find it in a bargain bin, probably, because it is over 10 years old. But it's still an amazing game for Transformers fans. And it's coming up next week. We go back to the Web Slinger, where we're taking on the mob. This is GamerK, logging out.